When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Well, Francisco Lindor did it again. He is the leading man for the Mets as he leads the Mets to a fifth straight victory. Marlins' Max Meyer carved up the Reds, and the Red Sox win on Patriots Day. MLB Game Night underway. He is Jon Frisch, host of Locked On Angels with his brother Mike. You can follow Jon on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Super Halos. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. You can follow me on X at Lennox on Baseball. This episode of MLB Game Night on Locked On Sports presented by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off on your first year. Well, they just went final in San Francisco. That's the first game we highlight of the night. And the Giants come up with a victory in game one of their series against the Brewers. Right now, we welcome in for the first time a live guest, Jon, and we say hello to Chuck Freimund. He's the host of Locked On Brewers. And Chuck, a tough one for the Brewers as they drop the opener. Quinn Priester, I was looking forward to seeing him work at least 5-6 innings, and doesn't last that long. Accurate to say not his best outing so far with Milwaukee?
No, not at all. But again, he's been pitching so well. The Brewers got him 2 weeks ago today, and he's been pitching pretty good. I mean, they kind of force fed him into the rotation, and he didn't get a decision in this game. Will Flores hit a solo home run to make up a 2-2 tie in the sixth inning. That came off Grant Anderson, who's been pretty good out of the bullpen in the last week or so. But the Brewers playing well. You know, they're trying to recover from that 0-4 start. Caleb Durbin hit an early 2-run home run to start off this West Coast road trip. And you think, all right, things are going well. Well, he scored those 2 runs early on, and the Giants just kind of pecked away. They were just pecking away at the Brewer pitching staff all night long. And, you know, the Giants are a good team. They bounced back after their loss on Sunday where the bullpen blew it. And the Giants got a win. What a rowdy crowd in San Francisco. And the Brewers will have game 2 of their series tomorrow night in San Fran.
You know, the Angels love their come from behind victories against the Giants, you know, a la 2002. But that's enough about my favorite team. Chuck, I want to know, Sal Frelick, man, is he the real deal? Because I'm looking at his numbers right now and going into last night, 342 average, 429 on base, 468 slugging, and an 897 OPS. I'm looking at the StatCast, and, you know, the expected numbers say he's going to come back down to earth a bit, but even still, you know, the expected batting average is 296. I'm looking at the launch angle, his average launch angle so far, 3.1. How does this guy getting it done on the field?
Well, in the offseason, guys, he put on 25 pounds in the offseason.
Nice.
Good weight. He wouldn't like me going through the drive-through window and putting on 25 pounds at Taco Bell throughout the winter. He was getting it done in the weight room, and he was eating his mom's cooking out east, and he went from 167 to 192, and he got stronger. And I think we're going to see more home runs from him he had 3 last year. And the batting average, him and Terang at the either 9 or 1 in the order. They've been usually it's Terang number 9 or Frelick 9 and Terang at the 1 spot. They've been batting them around, but those 2 guys are back to back sometimes in the order, and 2 guys who are just speedy on the base paths, don't make a lot of mistakes. That's the way the Brewers got to win. They don't have a talented team, guys. They're not the most talented team in the world. They're not the LA Dodgers. They're not the Yankees. They're not teams like that. But what they do get it done with, they outsmart the other team. They make things happen. They don't make a lot of mistakes. The margin of error is very, very thin with these guys. And so far, they've recovered from that 0-4 start to be right in the race with the Cubs.
And that's Pat Murphy, right?
Well, that is Pat Murphy. That's Pat Murphy baseball. And what he likes is go out there, play hard, do all the things, execute. They play great defense. Tonight wasn't really a great defensive game for them, but they're always one of the better defensive teams in the league. They don't, like I said, don't beat themselves. They're going to have a really good bullpen. Bullpen is getting better than it was earlier in the season. Starting pitching has been terrific for these guys. If they can just hit. Now, you mentioned Terang and Frelick. They're getting it done. Some other guys are starting to pick it up a little bit. Hoskins had a base hit tonight. Yelich has finally climbed that average over 200. And some of the other guys, and Contreras after a slow start, he's been turning it on. 2 weeks ago was named the National League Player of the Week. So I think the Brewers are going to be in the race all season long. It's going to be an interesting race, guys, in the NL Central, isn't it? You got the Cubs. Don't count out Cincinnati, Jeff Carr's Cincinnati Reds, or you can't count on the Milwaukee Brewers. I think it's going to be a 3-team race, and I think Milwaukee's very much going to be into it.
Chuck Freimund joining us from Locked On Brewers here on MLB Game Night. Chuck, appreciate the insight on the Brewers. And, hey, you've got Jose Quintana going in Game 2 of the series, so you can even up the series on Tuesday. We're going to connect with you down the road. Appreciate you taking the time.
You got it, guys. We'll talk to you. It's an honor being your first guest, my friends.
Thanks, Chuck.
Chuck Freimund, again, you can follow him on Locked On Brewers. And, John, I know I'm tossing you I'm getting to the line of scrimmage here and I'm pulling a lot of audibles. But, hey, Jose Quintana has been so far so good. ERA under 1. He'll go in Game 2 of that series for the Brewers in San Francisco on Tuesday. Let's move on. Patriots Day in Boston on Monday. The 129th running of the Boston Marathon. That means it's been 40 straight years where I failed to sign up for the Boston Marathon, John. But the Red Sox do take 3 out of 4. They get a strong 7 innings, and Walker Buehler picking up his 3rd win with the Red Sox.
Yeah, 7 innings pitched, a season high, 9 strikeouts. There are a couple of season high strikeout games today. 3 walks, 1 earned run in the first inning, 100 pitches. That was definitely a performance that Walker Buehler needed after the last one. He went out there. Rob Refsnyder, first home run of the season, tied the game at 1-1 in the second. Bottom of the third, Trevor Story, an RBI single in the third to put the Red Sox in front. They're going to need Trevor Story to do his thing after signing that big contract. But man, somebody I'm really excited about, somebody I definitely added on my fantasy team, Christian Campbell, a 2-run single makes it 4-1. Campbell had 2 hits on the day. And Tristan Casas an 0-4, 0-8 since the game-winning hit on Saturday. So isn't that the way baseball goes sometimes, Steve?
Yeah, it does, and he's really struggling, and he struggles against right-handers as well. He's hitting right around 100 on the season so far against righties. Gabby, Locked On Red Sox, has more on the Red Sox victory on Patriots Day.
It's a good day for Red Sox baseball today as the team earned a Patriots Day win after losing that game the last few seasons, and Walker Buehler came in and shoved, went through 7 innings, which was his best and longest start of the season for Boston. But perhaps one of the biggest highlights of the game was a big 2-run Christian Campbell hit in the bottom of the 3rd inning, where he went up there and went into a whole 0-2 early in the count to start with in the at-bat, and then he battled back and took a few pitches that were hard to lay off of, and then he just went and got the count to 3-2 and ripped a hit that scored 2 runs for the Red Sox. So really nice to see him continuing to gain confidence at the plate. This was a good win for the Red Sox to cap off a series win against a White Sox team that they really needed to beat. So continue that momentum moving forward. Go Sox. Tune into Locked On Red Sox for more.
Yeah, the Red Sox do take 4 of the 7 meetings with the White Sox. White Sox came from behind on Sunday, John, and they were looking for a split in the finale on Monday on Patriots Day. Red Sox had lost on Monday. They would have lost 4 of the 7 meetings with the White Sox, and that was not going to look good at any point going forward in 2025.
Yeah, that's not a team you want to be losing against. In fact, the White Sox are 1-9 on the road to start the season. Steve, I came across this nugget today. The White Sox are actually losing games at a greater pace than they did last season. And after what they set the record for, the most modern losses in modern baseball, I should say. That's not a way that you want to start things out if you're the White Sox, beating the pace that you were losing games last year. Hopefully,
I find that hard to believe.
Right?
Wow,
Exactly.
They had a ton of losing streaks last year.
Yeah. So they're coming fast and they're coming quickly in this early part of the season. Hey, how about we bounce on over to Todd of Locked On White Sox? Todd's got his reaction, and I'm sure Todd's not feeling so great after the way things have started for the White Sox right now.
Jonathan Cannon's lack of a put-away pitch allowed the White Sox to not pick up a series split. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox. Cannon had 0-2 counts to Rob Refsnyder in the second and Christian Campbell in the third. Neither time could he produce a pitch to get strike three as Refsnyder hit a game-tying home run, and Campbell came through with a 2 RBI single. Cannon not having swing and miss stuff is going to be his issue all season long. However, he did regroup and give the Sox 6 innings, and the team is going to need that now that Martin Perez is on the 60-day IL. And it wasn't all Cannon's fault in the White Sox 4-2 loss, as the team continues to struggle to produce with runners in scoring position.
And the White Sox did bring up former Red Sox hitter Bobby Dahlbeck. Chase Meidroth on the injured list on Monday, and Dahlbeck did strike out in the 8th inning against Aroldis Chapman. We take a break. When we come back, Francisco Lindor led off another game for the Mets with a home run, added a 3-run shot as well. Mets able to hold on late against the Phillies. Details next. This is MLB Game Night.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. If you've ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? I know sometimes my wife and I like to do a little online shopping. We forget to tell each other what we did. But, between going out to eat and online shopping, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. They're your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place, so you can stop managing your money and start building wealth. Financial conversations with your partner are smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals together, and stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. In fact, they're already ready to save you money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Again, that's monarchmoney.com. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB and you'll get half off your first year.
MLB Game Night, Phillies Mets, first of 3 at Citi Field on Monday night. Francisco Lindor does it again. Second straight game where he leads off the home first inning with a home run. Third time this year he's led off a game with a home run. And the Mets, the bullpen got a little weary late in the game, but they do hold on for the series opening victory against the Phillies, win the opener 5-4.
Yeah, Tyler Megill, a short little outing for him in this one, but kept the Mets in it, and like you said, that bullpen making it a little interesting. But of course, it helps to have the offense of Juan Soto, who had a 3-run home run in this one. It was called a home run, called a home run, and then overturned. And so, where are you going to get that offense? Well, how about Lindor hitting his own 3-run home run in the 7th? That put the Mets up 5-0. The Phillies pitcher so far, Steve, 30 home runs allowed from their pitching staff. Bryson Stott made it interesting. A 3-run home run off Edwin Diaz made it a 1-run game. Edwin Diaz has allows the 3-run home run, and then comes back and strikes out Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, 2 guys that are a threat in the 9th inning. So hanging on, the slimmest of margins, but there's the Mets with their 5th straight victory.
Yeah, and the Phillies dropped to 13-10 overall in the season. Let's get the Phillies' perspective in this one. We hear from Connor Thomas.
What a weird, wild game up in Queens for Game 1 of the Phillies series with the Mets. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. And the Phils end up losing this one 5-4 after getting shut out for most of it, after having minimal offense. Bryson Stott hits a 3-run bomb off of Edwin Diaz in the 9th, and all of a sudden they made it a 1-run game. The story of this game changed like 3 times. Early on, it was Aaron Nola, here we go again. Gave up 2 bombs early, almost gave up a third on a long Juan Soto foul ball. And he ended up having a pretty darn solid start, all things considered. Then it was, this offense, they haven't cashed in on their opportunities. And then late, even though they had a bunch of strikeouts in the game, they make something happen against the Mets bullpen. And then it's the Phillies bullpen. He gave up another home run. My goodness, this is a mess. Well, this is just a weird game where a lot of stuff went wrong, a lot of stuff went right. We'll break it all down on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Phillies.
Griffin counting for the Mets on Tuesday. Christopher Sanchez goes for the Phillies. And John, last time out, Sanchez, huge strikeout numbers. Mets got to attack that changeup. And this is an interesting series here in April because the Mets again have won 5 in a row. If you're the Phillies, you don't want to be swept, but you're okay losing a series on the road to one of your division rivals in the month of April, I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna have plenty of chances to get those back, but I'm sure if you're a Phillies fan, you want to eat all of these games up and win, especially against a division rival who obviously just didn't start out great last year and then snuck into the postseason. They turned things around by that trade deadline. They got things going for themselves, got into the postseason. So it's going to be a race to the finish, I'm sure, between these two NL East teams.
You mentioned Tyler McGill struck out Kyle Schwarber with the bases loaded in the 3rd inning and, got the early run support for the Mets. And it was Kranick who ended up giving up 3 of the 4 runs in that 9th inning. They were trying to get 3 innings out of him so he could pick up the save and, not have to go to Edwin Diaz. But they go to Diaz and does give up the home run. But as you mentioned earlier, strikes out Turner, strikes out Harper to end the ballgame.
Yeah, and if you're Edwin Diaz, I mean, there was that moment in time last year where he stepped out of the closer's role for a while, and so you want to get out there and you want to strike out guys like Trey Turner and Bryce Harper. And again, the slimmest of margins when you allow a 3-run homer like that, you're taking a big whoo at the end of that game. and for Edwin Diaz, you can't be the guy that they can't try. I mean, he signed that big contract, they bring him in. And then he, loses that spot last year for a little while. I know that, 2 years ago he dealt with the injury, was out for the entire season. So just a up and down roller coaster ride of a closer situation for Edwin Diaz over the last year or so.
Again, he got the final 2 outs with strikeouts against Turner and Harper for the Phillies. Speaking of strikeouts, John, Marlins. I mean, what do you make of this team? Max Meyer goes out and just absolutely deals in his outing against the Reds. The Reds, 24 runs, 25 hits against the Orioles on Sunday, struck out 14 times on Monday by the Marlins starter, Max Meyer.
That's baseball, baby. You go out and pour on the runs like that, and the next day
said.
You get eaten up by Max Meyer and his killer slider, man. That is the pitch that changed everything for him. And there were already people last year speaking about, hey, this guy could be a breakout candidate. Fortunately, he got hurt last year, and so we didn't get to see the full Max Meyer experience, but he's back, and he's somebody that the Marlins are excited about. Steve, I don't want the Marlins to be the feeder team anymore for, the other, the guys are spending big money around the league. The other team's spending big money around the league. I'd like to see them, continue to roll with somebody like a Max Meyer. They got Xavier Edwards at shortstop. He didn't have a good day, but he's been having a great season so far. Somebody that I really enjoy watching. And so again, the Marlins, if they're patient, and they've been making good moves in the offseason and at the trade deadline, trading away the guys that they need to, makes you wonder if, Sandy might be on the move at the trade deadline, but they're building something special. I just hope that they see it through because we haven't seen them do that in quite some time.
Wagaman and Stowers a pinch hit 3-run home run in the 7th inning. That made it 6-0. Marlins also had 5 stolen bases. Let's hear from the winning side first as we touch base with Marlins Locked On host, Jeremy Geiger.
Oh, baby. Max Meyer had his best start ever. What's up, guys? It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. And yeah, Max Meyer has arrived. He is legit. He could be an all-star. 14 strikeouts, 6 shutout innings. The slider was unhittable. The changeup was being dotted on the corners. Meyer was incredible. The Marlins beat the Reds 6-3. They get back in the win column, but the story of this night was all about Max. And this is overshadowing Agustin Ramirez, who made his major league debut, hit a ground rule double 110 miles an hour, looked phenomenal, and he was catching the game. He caught those 14 strikeouts. An unbelievable day for the Marlins' young talent. Just incredible.
I think every time Jeremiah goes with us here on MLB Game Night, John, he's mentioning a new Marlins player coming up from the minors and making his big league debut.
Yeah, you know what, and that's what
they're all coming.
Yeah, exactly. They're on their way. Steve, I was looking into what Max Meyer has done differently. First of all, let me tell you the batting average against on his slider this year, 0.91. It is basically unhittable. And I'm looking at what he did. He's taken some velocity off of it, so it's not as quick and tight. It's a little, or I should say it's a little bit more tight in terms of the vertical break and the horizontal break. So he's made some adjustments on that, and it's really working for him this season. And I got to tell you, it's always a treat to see Jeremiah happy after a Marlins win, and he gets to brag on some guys that he's excited about.
Well, we are going to hear from the other side. Jeff Carr was certainly happy with the Reds' offensive output on Sunday in Baltimore. Let's hear from Jeff, his perspective on the Reds getting struck out 14 times by Meyer on Monday in Miami.
I've never seen one team dominated by one pitch like the Reds lineup was dominated by Max Meyer's slider. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And the Cincinnati Reds lineup just couldn't get anything going against Max Meyer. There were hits. There were guys on base. But after you set a franchise record for hits with runners in scoring position on Sunday, baseball dictates that you're not going to get hits with runners in scoring position on Monday. That's just how it goes, and that's how it went for the Reds. They fall 6-3. Kind of a blow-up by Alexis Diaz in the 7th inning. Not really sure exactly where he stands moving forward. He is looking rough to begin the season, but all in all, it was a day that was dominated by Max Meyer, and the Marlins gave him plenty of run support. They got a chance to take this series, though, because Max Meyer is the best of the starting pitching staff, and it's not even close who a second best guy is. This lineup for the Reds should get right tomorrow.
Jeff Carr, Locked On Reds, and Jeff mentioning it right there. Marlins with a win Monday in the series opener, John. They've won 2 in a row for a third time this year, but they have not won 3 in a row, and that probably has a lot to do with the starting pitching.
Yeah, especially if it's so uneven, like Jeff was mentioning. And so, as a Reds fan, he's certainly looking forward to being able to take one from the Marlins, especially after a performance like today. But when you're the Marlins, you have, and you're a team in that situation, you've got to set goals for yourself, especially if you're part of that fan base. Set goals for yourself. Hey, let's get 3 in a row. Let's make that the next step. Let's make that the next thing that we can get excited about if you're a fan of the Miami Marlins.
Well, Max Meyer again Monday, 14 strikeouts against the Reds. Hunter Brown was also outstanding as he helped the Astros pick up a victory against the Blue Jays on Monday. Plus, the Braves came from behind to beat the Cardinals at home in Atlanta. We're going to have the details next. It's MLB Game Night. So, John, I get into this game middle innings, and I'm seeing that Hunter Brown is just dealing for the Astros at home against the Blue Jays Monday night. I put it on Astros radio with Robert Ford, and Brown goes 7 innings, gives up 2 hits against the Blue Jays, both singles, no runs, 1 walk, season high, 9 strikeouts. Astros take the opener in shutout fashion, winning 7-0.
Yeah, Hunter Brown, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, just singles, 1 walk, and 9 strikeouts. Didn't give up any runs. Hasn't given up a run since, I believe, the April 3rd. Was that how far back it's gone or so? It's so pretty incredible for him.
3 straight scoreless outings, 24 straight scoreless innings.
Amazing, man. I am happy that my Halos have not run into Hunter Brown yet this season, even though they fell apart against the Astros. They lost 2 of 3 when they were down there. So 3-1 with the win and a 1.16 ERA, lowered down from 1.5 at the start of Monday. We're seeing a bunch of guys arrive in terms of pitching. We talked about Max Meyer earlier. I'm thinking about Hunter Green for the Reds. It feels like he's arrived, and now Hunter Brown really putting it together in his, this is not his first season of work. It's about the 3rd, I believe. And so,
and note to Dan O'Dowd from the MLB Network.
Yeah.
He recently said, we need to be talking about Hunter Green. Well, you're paid to talk about Hunter Green. We are talking about Hunter Green. We're talking about Hunter Brown, MLB Game Night, right?
Exactly. We're talking about everybody that our Locked On Everydayers need to be paying attention to out there. And me, I love to bring up my fantasy team and talk about fantasy baseball. So keep your eyes peeled on some of these pitchers, because like I said, they've been arriving and not a lot of people have noticed quite yet. And again, Hunter Brown's one of those, Max Meyer is one of those, Hunter Green's one of those. Really great stuff from these young starting pitchers this season.
So again, 7-0 the final, and Forrest Whitley combining on the shutout with Hunter Brown. He worked the final 2 innings and gave up just one base runner. That was a strikeout and a wild pitch, allowing a runner to reach for the Blue Jays in the 8th inning. Then came back in the 9th inning, retired the side 1-2-3, got the top 3 hitters in that Toronto lineup, Bichette, Vlad, and Anthony Santander, who is still not quite hitting up to expectations after signing the big deal in the offseason with Toronto.
Isn't that always how it goes, right? You're waiting for that big breakthrough moment. I mean, I feel like the Giants are feeling the same way about Willy Adames, and signing his big deal and kind of waiting on him to have a little bit of a breakout as well. If you take it to the other side of things, a 4-run 5th inning for the Astros. Jose Altuve with an RBI double in the 5th made it 3-0. Brendan Rodgers has a 2-run double in the 8th to make it 7-0. And then you look at the other side of things. I just mentioned big contracts. Santander signing that one. Vladdy getting that huge extension. 0-for-4. Not a good look and not fun if you were excited about that Vladdy extension. He'll come around. He's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But, man, just sometimes, like I said, and like Jeff said, that's the way baseball works sometimes where, you get these big contracts signed and then you're waiting for these guys to have their big moment after they, put pen to paper.
Braves home Monday night in Atlanta, opening up a 3-game series against the Cardinals, and the Braves 5 runs in the 8th inning. They've now won 4 in a row as they hold on for the victory in the opener, 7-6 the final. Let's hear from Jake. He's got the Braves perspective.
Got a little dicey in the end, but the Atlanta Braves hang on to get the win. Their 4th straight win so far. Jake Mastriani from Locked On Braves, and what a wild game on Monday night. Spencer Schwellenbach got the start in this one, went 7 innings, but the Cardinals had a pretty good approach against them. Were able to scratch across a few runs. The Atlanta Braves offense kind of quiet in the middle innings, but then that 8th inning, once again, 5 runs on the board. They get a big comeback. Michael Harris with a bases loaded sac fly to give the Braves a lead, and then on the next pitch, Sean Murphy, a 3-run home run to pad that lead, which they needed. Raisel Iglesias comes in for a non-save situation, gives up 3 runs, but leaves it right there with the go-ahead run at the plate, and Nolan Arenado gets a tapper right in front of the plate for the final out to end it. What a wild game for the Atlanta Braves, but the streak is alive. It's 4 in a row. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. The unfortunate news was Spencer Strider, which we'll talk about on the postcast and over on Locked On Braves.
Thank you, Jake. And Jake right there mentioning Spencer Strider injuring his hamstring, strained right hamstring, on the injured list now. Did it while just playing catch. These things happen.
That's the theme of the episode, Steve, is that's baseball. And it's unfortunate, but man, when
they have made t-shirts with that's baseball. We got to
Yeah, exactly. But, talking about Spencer Strider, certainly a huge piece of this rotation, but Spencer Schwellenbach having a nice bounce back outing. I know he didn't get the decision in this one, but he needed it. The 7 strong innings, 3 runs, 2 earned in this one. So he's going to have to anchor that rotation for the Braves while they find their groove again offensively. But hey, you can't sneeze at 4 in a row. That's a win streak, baby.
Cardinals like a volatile stock right now. They've lost 5 in a row. Let's hear from JD. He's got the Cardinals side of this one.
The Cardinals bullpen implodes again, this time in Atlanta. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals. And last year, the Cardinals bullpen was actually one of the best things about the team. But this year, been a totally different story after wasting another solid start from starting pitcher Eric Fetty, who goes 6 innings. He allows 2 runs on 5 hits. He left with a 3-2 lead after that 6th inning. But in the 8th, an overturned call at first base opened up the floodgates for the Braves, who score 5 runs on Phil Maton and JoJo Romero. The big blow, a 3-run jack against Romero after manager Ali Marmol got tossed for arguing balls and strikes. And though the Cardinals did make it interesting in the 9th inning thanks to a 2-run shot by Wilson Contreras, they ultimately lose another 1-run ball game by a score of 7-6. The team falls to a putrid 1-10 on the road. They're 0-5 in 1-run ball games and have now lost 5 in a row. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
And Lars Nootbaar, rough series over the weekend against the Mets at Citi Field, 0-for-5 in the leadoff spot for the Cardinals on Monday night. Guardians up 6-0 on the Yankees early on, held on for a 6-4 victory. They've now won 4 in a row, and the Guardians now 4 games over 500. Let's hear from Justin. He's got the Guardians side with the happy recap.
A sweep of the Pirates to finish their road trip. The Guardians came home to host the Yankees to start a big homestand, and they scored enough runs to win. Some big boppers came through, but the story of this one was Gavin Williams. A huge start for him for the Guardians. I'm Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians. An ominous start for the Guardians and Gavin Williams. An error to start the game. A couple of walks in that first inning. A high pitch count first inning for Gavin Williams. He was able to come through, dial it in. He got through the first inning. Looked like it was going to be a pitcher's duel early on. And after that first inning, he really settled down, really buckled down, kept the Yankees off the board. The offense came around, and then the Guardians were able to push Gavin Williams into the seventh inning because he had a couple of low pitch count innings, really dominated and overwhelmed that lineup, and able to do enough to get them deep into the game. They haven't had a lot of that this year, especially from Gavin Williams. Really needed that in this start with a lot of bullpen guys who were down tonight. They had to close with Cade Smith. So they really needed a big start from Gavin Williams, and it was an ugly first inning. Could have been a very ugly first inning. He came through, settled down, the offense came through, and then Gavin got them to where they needed to go in this one. Huge start for the Guardians, huge start to their homestand. Tune in to Locked On Guardians to hear more from this one.
All right, Justin, thank you. And Cade Smith, he faced Aaron Judge. He was the tying run at the plate in the ninth inning, struck him out to end the ball game. Jose Ramirez, 3-run home run and an RBI single in the sixth inning. That made it 6-0 at that point. And again, Guardians win it by a count of 6-4 in the series opener against the Yankees. Let's hear from Brian. He's got the Yankees side in the series opener.
The Yankees' inability to get length out of their starters finally comes to bite them. Too much use out of the bullpen, and they haven't been able to get length out of their starters, which has bothered them all year, really. Lose the game in Cleveland, first game of the series. Going to be a tough way to come back the rest of this series after a solid road trip in Tampa Bay. We'll be discussing that and much more on this week's editions of Locked On Yankees. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube Monday through Friday.
Jason Dominguez did have a 2-run home run in the seventh inning. Chaz Chisholm with a home run as well, a 2-run shot in the eighth inning. Yankees do fall short. They've now got 40 home runs through their first 23 games of the season. We wrap up, John. Tigers home against the Padres. Tigers 2 runs in each of the first 3 innings, win 6-4, now 14-9 on the season. They've won 4 of 5.
Yeah, how about beating the best team in baseball standings-wise in the Padres? 16-6 they fell to today after this loss to the Tigers in this one. Gleyber Torres, a 3-hit game, 2 RBIs out of the leadoff spot, hitting .304, Steve, on the season so far. Zach McKinstry right behind him in this lineup, 3 hits with a double and a triple. Just needed that one more AB to get that cycle going there, right? And then Will Vest, a 1-2-3, top of the ninth for his second save of the season. The Padres are loving themselves some Gavin Sheets. I know that they took the L today, but a solo home run in the fifth, his third of the season. Fernando Tatis Jr., 1 for 5 with an RBI. He's got a 10-game hit streak going, but, you know, in a game like this, you'd like to see maybe just one more hit out of Tatis in this one. And so, again, Randy Vasquez here, 2+ innings, 5 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, and 1 K. That's not going to get it done when you're starting the game out. It's just not great for Padres pitching in this one.
And Luis Arraez also placed on the 7-day injured list in the concussion protocol. That wraps it up for us, John. One final swing, one final thought.
Yeah, again, pay attention to these breakout candidates this season, because these are going to be the guys that we're talking about for the next few years. I mean, we talked about Garrett Cole. I know Scherzer and Verlander at the end of their careers, but I think a lot of these young arms that we're seeing coming into the league right now are going to be the ones that we're talking about for quite some time. Steve, how about you?
I agree 100%. There's a lot of young talent that's starting to establish themselves at the big league level, and I don't want to hear Buster Posey in the coming days saying that Max Meyer can't be long-term in Miami with the Marlins. Hey, be sure to tell your friends all about us. Subscribe to the Locked On MLB YouTube channel. Subscribe and give us a 5 for 5 review on our audio podcast as well. MLB Game Night, part of the Locked On Sports Network, available wherever you get your podcasts. Back at it Tuesday night into Wednesday, and we look forward to being with you.